Hello everybody, we're going to do the 6-7 notes today. Hopefully this will work. I've had to restart my computer like 5 times. It's not been a good morning. Okay, alright, so here we go. So 6-7, there we go. 6-7 is about inverse relations or inverse functions. An inverse, all an inverse means is that we are going to switch our x and our y values. So if you think about like multiplying, its inverse operation is dividing. Addition, its inverse operation is subtraction. So you've heard the word inverse before, and you'll see how that comes into play. So we're going to start out, we'll just say that that is, when we're talking about an inverse, we're going to switch the x and the y. Okay, so we're going to start out with a basic function where they just give us a set of ordered pairs, and they want us to graph the original one, and then they want us to graph the inverse. So we'll just do one example. So they give us, let's say that f of x, we don't really have to name it, so I'll already set. We just have a set of ordered pairs, so we'll just make a table of values instead. Sorry if you already wrote that down. So we have an x and a y. Let's say the first one is 1 and the y is -2 that goes with that. The next ordered pair is 2, 1. And the next ordered pair is 3, 5. So we're just going to sketch this. We'll just plot these 3 points, and then we're going to plot the inverse. And we'll see what that looks like and what we can figure out and kind of generalize based on that. So what's our biggest y value? 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 5. Okay. So I'm just going to plot this first original one. I'm just going to use dots for it. So 1, -2, 2, 1, and then 3, 5. So that is my original graph. So the original one are these blue dots. Now if I do the inverse, so for the inverse, the x's and the y's get switched. So now my ordered pair, instead of being 1, -2, will be -2, 1. Instead of being 2, 1, it'll be 1, 2. Instead of 3, 5, it will be 5, 3. So I'll plot that one in green, and I'll make a triangle just so you can see a little bit better. So that is -2, 1. Just do a triangle. And then 1, 2. And then 5, 3. Okay, so my original were the blue dots, my inverse, that's a green triangle. And what's neat about this is that if you draw a line that's on this diagonal here, mine's not going to be perfectly to scale, your dots will line up if you folded your graph along that line. So this 3, 5 matches with the 5, 3, the 1, 2 with the 2, 1, and the -2, 1 with the 1, -2. So the equation of this line is the line y equals x, and all inverses will reflect over that line. So once you know one, you can just match it up to the other side. So that's if you're graphing them or you're just switching ordered pairs. Okay. Oh, I forgot to tell you what the symbol for inverse is. So if your regular function is f of x, the inverse is f with a little -1 of x. So if you see that, that just means the inverse. It's the symbol for inverse. So now we'll talk about if we have an actual equation, how to do that. Okay, so if we want to solve for an inverse, so you have f of x and you want to find f inverse of x, we're going to do 2 things. Our first step is we want to switch our x and our y, because that's what we're doing with our inverses. Just taking a second. Taking 2 seconds. There we go. Switch x and y. And once you've done that, you are going to solve for y. Okay, so we switch x and y in our equation, and then we want to get y by itself. So this is a whole lot easier than I think some other things that you've done, just because y'all are really good at solving equations and getting y by itself. So we'll just do different color. It's for fun. Just ignore my pen if this is what's been happening today. Okay, so let's start with our first example. Let's say that y equals 2x plus 5. So we know that that's just a straight line. It starts at 5. Its slope is up 2 over 1. So if we're going to do our inverse, the first thing we want to do is switch our x and our y. So it's going to be x equals 2y plus 5. And then we want to get our y by itself. So to get the y by itself, the first thing you want to do is subtract the 5 from both sides. So this ends up being x minus 5 equals 2y. And then y'all know what to do next. If you want the y to be by itself, to get the y alone, you're just going to divide both sides by 2. You can just put it over 2 for the whole thing. Your 2's will cancel out. So now our inverse is y equals x minus 5 over 2. Okay? You could see the 2 underneath both of those. That's fine. You could say x over 2 minus 5 over 2. Okay? The next one we're going to start out, we're going to get it in start in f of x form, just so you'll see what to do in case you see one that looks like that. So next example, let's say that f of x is equal to 2x cubed minus 3. So in this one we don't literally see a y in here, but remember f of x is the same thing as y. So I'm just going to rewrite that before I get going, just so I don't get confused. Okay, so now I'll switch my x and my y. So x equals 2y cubed minus 3. And then I want to get the y by itself. So I'll add my 3 first. Add 3, add 3. So x plus 3 is 2y cubed. And now before we get rid of the cubed, we have to divide by 2. Divide by 2. Okay, 2's are gone. And then how would you get rid of something to the third power? We did this in, was that the last lesson? No, 6-5. You're going to take the cubed root of both sides. So we'll do the cubed root of those, and that will be our answer. So y is the cubed root of x plus 3 over 2. Okay? And you could always also see this written using the inverse notation. Since they started in f of x form, you might want to end it up in f of x form. But we did the inverse instead, so this would be f inverse x is the cubed root of x plus 3 over 2. Okay, do one more, and then that will be all for this lesson. I really shortened the homework assignment too, so don't look at your assignment sheet that I put originally on there like a couple weeks ago. Look at the assignment from that I posted today, so I took a lot off. Let's go with y equals the square root of x plus 2. So remember we want to switch our x and our y first. So x equals the square root of y plus 2. Now if you're trying to get y by itself, you've got to get rid of that square root sign first. So how would we get rid of our square root sign? Remember, this is just like the other day too. To get rid of the square root of something, you've got to square both sides. So x squared is now y plus 2. Once you square it, the square root sign goes away. If you want y by itself, you would just subtract 2. Okay. Alright, so that's all for 6-7. There's one thing from 6-6 that a lot of y'all were messing up on. So I'm just going to say that right here at the end. So this is just a recap from the other day. This is from 6-6. It's when there were problems like this, f with a little o of g. of x. This doesn't mean times. This is the same thing as f of g of x. So that is not a multiplication symbol. So if I had something like f of x is 2x plus 5, and g of x is 3x, something like that, and I said, what's f of g of x? Not x, let's put the 2 in there instead. Let's do f of g of 2. F of g of 2. You're going to take 2, plug it into the g function, in here. That is 3 times 2, and that is 6. Then you'll take 6 and plug it into the f function. So we did this, 3 times 2, and that was 6. Now I'm going to plug 6 into the f function. 2 times 6 plus 5, and that is 12 plus 5 is 17. So when you see the little o, that does not mean multiply, that means f of g of x. Okay? Just another thing, we're going to keep doing workbook pages for 6, 7, and then 6, 8, but then after that we're going to do a different system for your homework, and just a snippet, a little snippet into the future. But if you have any questions on this assignment, just let me know and I will help you. Thank you very much.